We're here at the 2024 Mid-America Truck Show, standing in front of a person that is familiar to a lot of folks. May not need an introduction, but for the people that just don't know you just yet, what's your name and what do you guys do?
Hi, I'm Brian Davis with Davis Brothers, and we're truck builders out of Owensville, Indiana, and we also run a trucking fleet, and we grain farm as well.
Very versatile. So tell us about this truck that we're in front of and why it's here at the Mid-America Truck Show.
Well, it's kind of a long story. It's a 2024 389 Peterbilt that we ended up in the truck build-off with. We really had no intentions of being in a build-off this year. We were going to put a truck together to put on a new Mack step deck and maybe just hit a few shows as a display this year. And anyway, through some different talks, they roped us into this. I shouldn't say rope, but got us into this.
Yeah. Well, the race is on.
Yes.
Let's take a look at what you guys have done. Let's start. Let's turn right around and start from the inside of the hood here and work ourselves back.
Well, one of the notes you might want to see in the hood's been skinned on the inside to be slick on the sides. Kind of covers up your wishbones in there and slicks that all out. Just gives you a nice look when the hood's up. Sold the I don't know if that's a Kevlar type material we sewn up around our springs to keep them from rubbing inside of our hood. And of course, painted all the rivets and fenders insides, and we put a 12 gauge 379 style hood cap on the truck.
Very nice.
I actually, when we started building the truck, I said, we're not going to do much of anything to our engine, guys. I'm like, we're going to drive the truck, we're going to use the truck, so we'll just clean it up a little bit. And so we went a little bit further than what we intended with the engine on it.
Okay, so what have you done?
Well, of course, pulled the engine and painted it Viper red to match the truck, and of course added several chrome parts, painted our valve cover up, and the valve cover, the Cummins looks like wood, which matches the dash in the truck. And we moved several things off our firewall and pulled our stripes across the firewall as well. So we moved some things around there to just kind of clean that up, and then straightened up all of our wiring. It's usually messy down there in that driver's side bottom corner of the dash, or the firewall rather. So everything has been totally untangled and wrapped, and
That looks
pretty well as neat as we could get it.
Whose visor, lights, and stocks do you have there?
Well, the visor is again 12 gauge. And then we went with the school bus windshields with the chrome locker rings, and the truck actually has school bus glass and all the way around it. The windshields, the side windows, and the sleeper windows are all school bus glass.
Interesting. Was that hard to do in terms of
it
sourcing that?
Yeah, it wasn't the funnest in the world. It was pretty challenging, honestly. The sleeper windows weren't too bad once we redone the frames for them and made them where we could get that in there like that to match the windshield. The side windows, that glass is about a 30-second thicker than the factory glass, which doesn't sound like much, but the way that it comes up the tracks in there, the width is extremely critical to make that window come up and down smooth as it should, like a factory window.
Okay. Let's check out the front and back of these breathers. Whose lights are those?
These are the new legendary lights that Four States put out, and the lights are all glass lens. Every light on the truck is a glass lens light, and we thought that was kind of important, just kind of get that, a little bit of an older, authentic, clean look. Mm-hmm. And they throw, the patterns that come off those glass lenses seem to be quite a bit better than the plastic. In the shop we tested both, and there was definitely a difference between the plastic and the glass lenses.
So was that a scientific test, or was it just hook them up and see what kind of pattern they show?
Yeah, basically you just hold them down close to the floor of the concrete, shut the lights off, and see. The air cleaners, we of course made them strapless, and we chop our own tops down in the shop, untig the tops and cut them down and then take them back together. Mm-hmm. So we can go whatever height that you would like. Mm-hmm. These are fairly low, but I done a little bit of math to figure out how much airspace we had in there, and we should have plenty.
Okay. Very nice. Let's talk about the step box.
Yeah, so the step box there has been pleated. The stainless in it has been pleated. The step plates we make in-house and had them chromed. And So we want the pleated look because the rear fenders that you will see in a bit are they're as pleated as well. And so we had the stainless pleated, and then you send the stainless down, and Hogebuilt punched them after they were pleated to give you that nice, and it's a subtle pleat. It's not a real deep pleat. It just, as you can see on the air tank there, it gives you a real nice effect.
Yeah,
shining on there gives you some nice patterns as it shines up on the air tank.
All right, let's move on back toward the back of the truck.
So the fuel tanks, the fuel tanks have been smooth, all the welds have been smoothed off the fuel tanks to give it the nice clean round look. The fuel caps, we made new fuel caps for it, had them chrome. So those fuel caps, we have our emblem in there, but we can make them with anyone's emblem or basically any design around the outside. And we made the fuel caps to where on a standard Peterbilt, you've got 3 or 4 positions that they have to be in. And these fuel caps, you can clock them any way that you want to clock them, so that your tab, so the truck logo is straight down on both sides.
Well, that's cool.
But you could clock them straight back or however you want to clock them.
Cool.
So we done that on the fuel tanks, and then our light bars, front and rear, as you can see, they're double-sided all the way up through there.
Nice.
And so that covers all your wiring, keeps everything looking super clean. No loom to mess with or any of that. Plus, we put lights on the back, so it gives it a great underglow under the cab. Yeah. And like I say, the fronts and rears, we plated the bottom of the sleeper so that it's nice and clean. And so the bottom of the sleeper, the bottom of the cab is all painted just like the outside of the truck.
Nice.
And we lined up our rivet lines on the panel on the bottom of the sleeper to keep just like the outside of the truck. We kept the same rivet lines running across.
Very nice.
And forwards on that.
Custom shock box.
Shock box is Iowa Custom, bag covers Iowa Customs. The paint on the truck, I thought about the colors for a long time and what we were going to do there and how I wanted it to look. And there's 7 colors. It's a 7-color paint job. And of course the stripes run through the door jambs all the way to the inside and around the back of the jambs actually. So we spent quite a lot of time on the paint, making sure our stripes ran through every bit of it.
And what's impressive is even running the stripes over.
Yeah,
that would be a cap.
Yeah, so we came up with these billet caps to cover these rivet collars.
Okay.
So on a 70-inch Peterbilt, you always see the rivet collars up the back of these, and so like right here we striped right across the one. Actually, our painter striped that off the truck, and he's a pretty good job of making that line up. But
absolutely.
So those caps are billet, and they're machined to fit those collars perfectly. So we just put a drop of adhesive in the bottom and snap them on.
Nice.
And it just really cleans up those collars and allows you, if you have a stripe hits them or whatever, to carry that right on through.
It's really a touch.
We come up with the CB antenna mount that your coax doesn't show. So your coax is all encased in there, and it just is a mount for your CB antenna to come out of. Gives it a nice clean look.
Yeah, definitely.
On the 70-inch, the way we done our lights, we had to scoot that back an inch so our antenna wouldn't hit our light. So that model there is a little bit deeper. Plus, the back of it that's a 5-degree angle on the back of that sleeper. So that had to lay back 5 degrees to make the antenna stick straight up.
Okay.
Instead of having your antenna leaning in, it sticks straight up.
Very nice. So, I mean, I used the term scientific earlier, just jokingly, but you guys put a lot of thought into some of the things and how it actually works and going down the road and how it's going to be oriented as a truck is in motion.
Yeah, we pretty well, I mean, any trucks that we build that are show trucks, even if it's a build-off truck or not, we fully intend to use the trucks. And in fact, we brought this truck over, pulling a trailer and loaded, and we'll go right on with the work. Everything you see on the truck is paint. There is not a zero vinyl anywhere. Any and everything is paint.
Very nice.
As far as lettering or striping goes. Cool. Just something we thought was important. And if you can get a shot of the belly pan in the truck, is all of the mounting for that belly pan is hidden, and it hides the eye panel mounting, and the drop panel in front of the tandems hides all the mounting for them as well. So it's all pretty seamless. We made suspension stops for the fenders that, you know, a lot of times guys just add you know, you'll add a piece of pipe or whatever they send you on the bottom of your factory Peterbilt suspension mount. And we didn't think that was real clean, so we machined those out and made them the right heights, you know, for your fenders. And they worked out pretty well. We really kind of had to guess the first attempt at it, and it worked out great.
Well, that's cool. So now, like, that goes into your repertoire, because I was going to ask, some of the changes that you guys make, it's because you've gone through it on another build and you're like automatically, well, let's do this for this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I built several of them, and that helps in the time that it takes to build one, and kind of what to do and directions to go and that type of thing. The fifth wheel, we took it had a slider on it from the factory, and so I bought a set of weld-on legs, which they're really hard to find. Holland they no longer sell weld-on legs. So I found a parts house that still had a few sets in stock, and I bought them. So it makes it a little easier to make a fifth wheel setup like that, to where it's super clean under your fifth wheel. And we painted the bottom of our aluminum fifth wheel and everything, just to, you know, have a nice clean look and make it easy to clean up.
Nice.
We capped the back of the frame in on it to meet up, you know, so our deck plate seems pretty seamless, and there's no bolts back there, no longer any bolts or anything back there to, again, just for clean lines.
Absolutely. Now that we're back here at the trailer, let's talk about the trailer.
Well, the trailer is a 2024 Mack low pro step deck, and we had it built. We haul a lot of farm equipment, and it's basically built specialized for hauling planters. We haul a lot of planters, and so this is the trailers that we use. And we worked with Mack, and they built us this trailer, and they sent a lot of the components for the trailer out, had them buffed, and then put the trailer together. So like down the center here, we got this center strip. That's where you would normally have a couple of nailers. Pretty much everything we haul's on tires and on the outsides of our trailer, or we're hauling the duals and extra tires for tractors and combines and things, and they lay right across there. So it's not a problem for us to have that running down the center of our trailer.
Right, nice.
Mack added the lights and the step here for us. We changed all the lights on the trailer over to glass to match. We paneled the bottom of the trailer off. We had the trailer built, and they built it for us with all tubes in the floor instead of C-bracing, so that it strengthened the trailer and we didn't have to have any knee braces. That way we didn't have any of that to work around as we was building the trailer to customize the bottoms of it to. So we put a light in every cross member down through the trailer. So I think there's 30 lights shining down on each side of the trailer. Gives it a nice even underglow. Of course, we added quite a lot of stereo to the truck and trailer, both. And we put the axle covers on, made those axle front covers. And they'll fit pretty well any Mack front end that I've looked at, as far as the bracing on the front of the Mack axles. And we capped behind the rear axle there and carried that onto the back.
Now, when you guys are working on this, did you have this trailer elevated, or?
Yes, we blocked it up in the shop 16 inches higher than it's sitting now. All
right, so I was going to say that'd be a challenge. Not a challenge, but...
Oh, it was definitely a challenge. Yeah, to get things underneath it, we had to... So in between the frame rails of the trailer, they built it for us where there is just basically a wall between the the rails every 60, I think it's 60 3/4 inches. So that give us basically a space that was, excuse me, about 44 inches wide and about 60 inches long and about 16 inches tall.
Okay.
Because we put 4 sub boxes in each, one in each opening, and they built it for us like that, and they just fit right in there like a glove. So you can't see them because they're hidden up between the frame rails of the trailer.
I had heard someone say, look for the DEF tank on this truck, and I believe that might be on the other side.
Yeah, so we've done the DEF, hid the DEF tanks before, and we done it with a bolting to the frame bracket, but now we done it with straps this time. So again, just details, and this tank here, striped it, all the stripes follow it right across. We made this billet mount to mount that to where, just it's a nice detail without putting a firewall cover on it.
Absolutely.
Because of the fact that they're kind of a pain in the butt when you go to run your trucks, and if you have them covered and you need to work on your air conditioning system or that kind of thing, it's kind of a hassle. So we decided to go the non-firewall cover route, which is nothing wrong with firewall covers. I like the look of them. But it can be hard to deal with once you get running the truck.
That makes sense, because again, it's got to be functional. So I'm going to go back to look at this tank here, and then I'll ask you to shut the hood so we can get a look at the truck as a whole.
Yeah. So the tank, we moved the DEF tank. It has to go down and back to get your tank over it. But at that point, usually the neck sticks through the tank. So we chopped the brackets for the DEF tank down even further and got all we could get and smashed it back against the frame as far as we could get, so that we could try to get that neck in there. And then we machined a billet cap to go on there that just kind of ends up being flush with the tank. And we put that little slot in there. You stick a quarter in there, and a quarter fits perfectly, and it turns and comes right out of there.
Awesome.
So you just gotta clean that up where you don't have that blue cap sticking out. We didn't want to draw any attention to where that cap was at, because we're really trying to make it go away, right?
Right. And when I walked around the truck to begin with, never noticed it. And even you can almost say that cap is for anything.
Yes.
And someone will think, this could be for anything. Yes.
So it works pretty well. It was. They're kind of hard to get in there, and for the guys that have done that job, know what I mean. Everything's got to be lined up just perfect for that tank to slide in there and then get up in the fuel tank mounts and the saddles. So that can be a little trying, to say the least.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the truck with the hood down.
All right.
Very nice.
Thank you. So we had all of the, of course we're running the factory Peterbilt fender guards or steps or whatever you want to call them, fender mounts. Everyone likes to use a different term, but we took those off and had them chromed, and we had our J&J hooks chromed, and we had several parts of the truck chromed. It just makes it a hell of a lot easier especially if you're doing much showing, to keep those surfaces looking good, and even if you're not showing, just wipe them off, and they always look good.
I like there's 2 colors of pinstripe right here on the very edge of the fender.
Yeah.
That's
so
a nice touch.
Darren Bean out of Maceo, Kentucky does all of our hand lettering and striping, and he does a really good job. Some of the folks I'm sure know Darren. He's been around the truck show scene for many years, and he's pretty amazing. He puts a center line down and starts in, you know, and there's
Wow.
not many of those guys left that can do that with that
That's
kind of
cool.
quality. And he in fact striped all the way down the deck plate, and that stripe down the middle of the trailer is also striped all the way. He crawled down that whole trailer and striped that thing. So,
Wow.
and it didn't take him that long. It's pretty amazing, you know, and no templates or nothing, you know, just down through there freehanding it.
Very cool.
It's quite a talent that's getting lost.
Absolutely. Okay, we move into the inside.
Yes.
All right. So as the camera goes in here, tell us what we're looking at.
So this is our idea of an old bar. I just kind of had this idea that I wanted to build one that just kind of looked like an old bar, and as it started coming together, I was like, yeah, it definitely looks like the inside of a 1970s, I don't know, maybe a camper or something. But so I first came around the ideas of the old Fender Tweed guitar amps on the doors as basically a speaker cover, or just to make it look like when you're inside, you know, that the band's got some old Fender amps sitting there. And so we bought all the stuff to basically restore an old Fender Tweed amp, and Kevin made those authentic looking amps, the right thickness and the right, you know, height and width that we needed to fit the door panel. So we made those just, you know, in-house. We
That's cool.
made those to fit, and they light up, and the speakers, you know, it lights the grill up, but the speakers are inside of them, and the switch on there, the volume knob, you turn it on, and it actually turns a lot of your interior lights on inside the truck, so it's actually functioning. And the lights on the amps, for like an old tube amp, you know, always had the jewels on them, and we got those on there, and they light up, and
cool.
so we started out with that, and then we moved on to the dash, and I wanted to build a dash that kind of represented an old jukebox. And so I came up with that bit of it, you know, that type of design to put on the truck. And Darren airbrushed it up to look like wood, and we put a matte clear coat over that. The dash is totally aluminum from, you know, the full dash is totally aluminum and hand-built aluminum. So we made that to, you know, have that look. And with the new trucks, with the electronic dash, you have the, you know, steering wheel controls in the steering wheel. That, well, they really don't have a good answer for yet. I don't know, maybe we'll see one here at the show that somebody's come out with an aftermarket steering wheel. But we went ahead and moved our steering wheel controls into our dash. They're right above all the switches. And so that allowed us to put an aftermarket steering wheel on. And we wrapped it in the same leather as the rest of the truck, of course. And the doors, we slicked the doors out and put like 05 379 openers in our doors and door tops on. And then we moved all of our window controls and everything up into the overhead. So your door locks, your mirror controls, and your windows, that is. That's all right there in the overhead.
So basically you'll be reaching for the wrong direction to actually let the window down, and vice versa.
What's that?
You'll be reaching in the wrong direction to let the window down, and you have to tell yourself the controls are up there.
Yeah,
above
you have to tell yourself the controls are on the overhead and not on the doors. So that is, yeah, that's something you got to get used to. But when I drove the truck over to Louisville, I didn't have much trouble remembering that they were up there. It works great.
Cool. Tell us about these seats.
So the seats are, the whole inside of the truck is like a distressed leather, and I wasn't real sure of how how leather came whenever we started this build. Never bought a lot of genuine leather. So you buy it by the hide, and we ended up buying 12 cow hides to do this full interior, and 4 Heron hide, which comes off of small cows. And we bought 4 Heron hide and 12 full hides. And that was something I learned and realized, you know. And so I'd had this idea several years ago to make these seats that basically are floating, to where when you open the door and you look in the truck, you just look right underneath the seats. Because they were, you know, the judges are always digging under your seats and things. So we developed this mounting system to mount those seats where it's just slick right across the floor. And so a lot of people look in there and are like, what? They have to stick their hand under there to prove that there's not a base. But the seat belts and everything are still on. They're still fully functioning. In fact, they bolt in where your factory seat would bolt in.
Right.
But, you know, the floor continues over that.
Okay.
And the floor we wasn't sure what we was going to do with the floor on this truck. And one morning early, I got out of bed and I had this thought. And I called Kevin. I said, man, I think I got the floor. Now, we wanted to do wood to get, the leather and the wood and all the old look of an old bar.
Right.
And I said, man, if we could put wood in there and have neon lights running through the floor, but encased in the floor where you can walk on it and use it. And he said, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, here's what I'm thinking. And so he got to working on that process and made the floors and put them in, and the sleeper floor matches the driver floor, and all the lights run straight through. They line up. The sleeper lights line up with the front, so when you're sitting in the back on the couch, all the lines run straight through. Gives you a really cool effect, and it also has a really neat effect with the seats not having bases on them. That when you look in the cab, it gives you a real nice effect as you're looking in there.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds amazing. We'll go and have a closer look into the sleeper. Let's have a look at the passenger side.
Okay. So the passenger side is, of course, done. One thing I wanted to point out was that throttle base. We come up that throttle base. Normally they're just a black piece of metal that's bent up, and you just paint them or whatever. But we built that billet throttle base and chromed it. This gives you a nice clean look and mounts right down on your floor, as well as the brake pedal base is the same way. They sit on top of the floor. That way you don't have to cut out around them or anything like that. Gives you a real nice clean look, as well as the bezel around the gear shift. We made it match and chromed it.
Now, when you guys build trucks, do you do like a road map as far as what the ideas will be, so that way you can actually see things?
We kind of do, and it's usually me with a magic marker drawing on a piece of cardboard in the shop.
I was thinking it's more sophisticated, like a whiteboard and.
No, it's not at all. I drew what I thought that dash should look like on a piece of cardboard in the shop one night and said it's going to be kind of like this in my head, and I'm pretty amazed when the guys were able to get it basically to come out exactly as I had wanted it to look.
That's cool. I'd be afraid that the cardboard would disappear somehow. Somebody's taken out the trash and they threw away all of the designs and everything.
Well, there's really no measurements or anything on there, so you got to redraw it. It's not a big.
All right, cool.
It's not the end of the world by any means.
Cool. Let's get up in there and take a look at the sleeper.
All right.
So Brian, this looks amazing. Tell us about what we're looking at right here on the right side of you. Okay, so we started out with a Peterbilt 70-inch sleeper. And, a lot of guys are familiar with what they call the bed and breakfast sleeper. Peterbilt had a 70-inch bunk with a right-hand front door. And I thought several years ago, it'd be kind of cool to take one of those and put a left door in it. We didn't start out with a bed and breakfast. We actually took this bunk all the way down to the floor, reskinned it, put a new top on it, and added the front doors on both sides. Gives you a nice open area. And, had the idea of the couch and with the armrest, and so those doors open up and makes it show nice and gives you a nice open feeling in here. Made these armrests here and used the glass, the real glass, 1-inch beveled glass to run the corners. Just kind of gives you that funk look, and absolutely has the bump rail, kind of like a bar edge here, and then a wooden top. And once we got going on it, I said, man, we need some ashtrays in there if you're going to be a bar, So we got a set of ashtrays that sit down in the cup holders, and had to get it's kind of, they don't sell many amber colored ashtrays anymore, so it took a minute to find those. And again, we got what looks like a Fender bass amp cab on the rear doors back here, again, which is housing 7.7s on there. So and then we put the couch in and got the 3-seat with the Harrow and Hyde inlays in it, and got this nice grill cover down here that lights up underneath the couch that just kind of blocks that off, and then there's 4 subs under the couch, and then of course
since there was room above our heads, give us a nice place to mount our reading lights and our red lights, that we got another 4 box up here with highs and mids on the ends, and then of course the speaker covers on there again as well. We around the shop, we kind of took votes on what the truck was going to be named or different things, and there was kind of a tie between the Lessons Learned and the Larry Fleet song "Where I Find God." So we thought, what a better place to put that than on the back wall of the couch. We added the 2 24-inch televisions, one in each corner there, so that we could watch whatever we want on television as well. So this week I've been bringing up the March Madness on those telephones. And
Nice.
but
Wait, on the telephones.
a telephone, sorry, gosh, lack of sleep from building this truck.
Absolutely.
On the televisions. But then the John Deere neon signs, there's nothing better than Busch Light. Of course, anybody that knows us knows that from the shows that we're pretty fond of our Busch Light. And,
Busch lattes.
and we haul a lot of John Deere equipment, and of course use John Deere ourselves. So what better to put in the truck than that?
Yeah.
To just kind of give you that the cool feel,
Yeah.
with all the leather and the wood, and then again you can see the neon lights in the floor and how they line up, and it's a pretty slick look.
Absolutely. So now the camera's looking forward, obviously, toward the dash, and we can get a nice squared off view of the dash. So tell us a
Yes.
bit more about this.
Well, again, they come out with this concept of making that look like an old jukebox, and then we also, of course, needed to incorporate the Peterbilt electronic screen. So made that all fit and mount just like it does in a factory truck. And that was, of course, not just the easiest thing in the world to do, but Kevin worked on that, got it in there, and a place near us that does basically builds custom hoods for pulling tractors and different things are the ones that handcrafted the shell of the dash. So built a jig off the factory dash and then started building it, and it turned out great. We were really happy with it, and gives the truck a cool look.
Totally transformed this whole area, the whole dash area, from the top to the bottom. It is no longer a Peterbilt dash.
No, so we were able to use the left kick panel because the dash was built close enough to the dimensions, and then the rest of the under dash had to be hand made as well. And of course, the top of the gear shift, the corn cob on top of the gear shift, I'm sure a lot of people seen it at their local bars. That's your Busch Light beer tap top. And the overhead, of course, covered the overhead with the distressed leather and put our CB and stereo and everything surface mounted in there, and moved our mic plug in down to the lower part of the dash as well.
Is that oh, I see it there.
Yeah, the headliners in the truck are a brown suede, kind of like I wanted something like they used like in the 80s in Chevrolet pickups or something. And that's kind of what that is. Now we had to make our own headliner into the sleeper because you got to pretty well build your own, because typically almost every sleeper has closets in the front corners of the sleeper. So that was a bit of a challenge to figure out how to build that in and make that look right. With no closets there or anything, but it came together and we got it curved, and Kevin steamed the backboard and got it to make that curve just right. So we were pretty happy with how it looked once we got it all in. We didn't want to leave any void, so we basically upholstered the whole inside and then added everything so we had no voids or anything in our interior work.
Absolutely. So one of the questions I'm going to jump to, how long did it take?
Well, the truck was built in November of 23, and we didn't receive the truck until somewhere in the neighborhood of the 10th of December, and we got started on it basically around the 15th of December, and we received the trailer. We picked it up at Mack Trailer the 9th of January, and So we didn't get started on it till like the 11th or so. So basically, from that point till about 15 minutes before we left Sunday to come to Matt's. So we worked, a lot of our guys only had Super Bowl Sunday off since the first of the year. After we come into the new year, got through the holidays there, we decided that we were going to have to go 7 days a week. So that's basically what it took to get it here.
That is cool. That is very amazing. It's amazing. You guys done an excellent job. There's no part of this truck that has not been addressed in terms of how the fit and finishes. And I can see the back of the seat bases.
Yes,
like you're saying.
Yeah, you get to look at them there. We built the stainless pieces there to basically, we wanted those to be stainless so they give you a reflective quality, because it really helps the illusion when you look in here and look under there, because they're reflecting the lights, they're reflecting the floor, they're reflecting a bit of the seat, and gives you a nice illusion of how in the world are those seats mounted,
Yeah, for sure.
We've been asked a lot exactly how it's done, but we don't want to tell everything we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Trade secrets. So, last question. How many different processes did you guys learn how to do when building this truck?
Well, I don't know that we necessarily learned any new processes. We definitely learned how to execute some better.
Okay.
I guess maybe there was there might have been a couple, but the only thing we don't do in house is stitch. We don't have a sewing machine.
Okay.
But we made the majority of the backing, the patterns and the backing for the upholstery. We made all those, and then our upholstery guy would stitch it up, send it over. We would glue it down to the panels, put the retaining trees in them, and mount them ourselves. So pretty well everything was done. Our upholstery guy, he would cut it to shape and stitch it.
Okay.
And then we would glue it down if there needed to be any adjustments, trim the edges and that type of thing. But outside of that, pretty much everything is done at our place. We have some neighbors, the Smith brothers, that are wonderful, wonderful machinists. And so we come up with a lot of these little ideas, like the trim work on the jukebox there. We didn't think about that. Thought, well, we need some trim work on there. So you call them, they come down. Yeah, I got your idea. They machine it out, and they're back in an hour, and here's your part. So that's a great thing, and they enjoy working on the trucks with us and helping with ideas and helping with machining work. And so there was a lot of machined parts on this truck, whether it be the pedals or that trim work or the CB mount or the fuel caps or the rivet covers or the throttle base, and I'm forgetting many more machined parts, but a lot of one-off custom machined parts. I mean, the base for that corn cob there, for that beer tap, was remachined and made to fit the diameter of the corn, and to have the right threads in it to thread it and thread the gear shift, and so parts like that are what we have to an advantage on that. We think it up and tell them what we're wanting machined, and they machine it, and we get it back, send it to our chromer, and you've got nice parts.
Yeah, that's great. We did not talk about the sound system. So
yes.
We saw speakers outside, and we see speakers in here. What's some of the info on the sound system?
We've done a lot of stereo systems and are kind of known for the big stereo systems on the trucks. And we, on this particular build, was in contact with JL Audio and now have a deal with JL Audio for the next 18 months as a brand ambassador for them, and they've got several shows they want us to take this truck to. So, but yeah, we were running 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 26 7.7s in the cab of the truck, and which is a JL Marine sound, and we're running 8 JL 12 W7s inside, And then on the trailer, we have 28 8.8 JLs down under those panels under the trailer. And then down below and in between the rails, we're running 16 13 W7s. And we're running those on two 12Ks. And we're running 8K on the 8 12 W7s in here. And then, of course, multiples of 800 by 4s to run all the high and mids. So it's a very, very large system. We're running 32 batteries on this truck.
Jeez.
And we have all on board chargers, and smart chargers that are all hooked in. Mm-hmm. We've got an onboard generator on our up in the box in the trailer, so when we're at a show at night, a lot of the guys, we'll bring in a charger or whatever and a small generator and hook them to the truck to charge the batteries overnight or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we were always doing that, and it's really, frankly, kind of a pain in the butts right when you're wanting to go home. So yeah. I had the idea of just kind of incorporating that to the truck, and my brother said, man, that's a great idea, So mm-hmm. we get done at the end of the evening now, we fire that thing off and, go to bed. And mm-hmm. next morning we come in and we're charged up and we're ready to show for the next day.
That's cool.
So, and we've got, like I said, we've got some events for them going into early 25. Mm-hmm. So till about June of 25, and then once those obligations are over, then we'll put the truck on the road. So very that's cool. Basically why we built the truck the way we did, and we didn't shave or cut anything that made the truck non-DOT. Mm-hmm. That was something that I wanted to do for myself, mm-hmm. and basically, and for the build off, I want to be able to use it. So that's why we pulled a trailer and loaded it. We wanted everybody to know that our truck was, there was a lot of little riff-raff going around on the social medias about how these build off trucks were all going to be trailer queens that everybody mm-hmm. hauled around, and not something that was completely unusable, and they're like, why do we even want to look at that? Mm-hmm. And I get their point. Sure. And I think there is a few of them here, but not picking on them. They're great trucks. Mm-hmm. That's just not, I'm a truck guy. I like trucks. Mm-hmm. If I want to look at hot rods, I go to a hot rod show. Right. So and that's just my opinion. That doesn't take away from anything anyone else is doing. Mm-hmm. So, but that's why our truck's built the way it is. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Now, can I ask a burning question that some others may have? Yep. It may be an answer that some guys avoid, but somebody somewhere is going to want to know a price range on this build.
I don't really, honestly, at this point, I don't really have a price range on it because of the fact that we built our truck in-house and do so much of the work ourselves, mm-hmm. of a raw cost versus someone that's paying shop rate to get it done.
That is true.
I can tell you that, you talking truck and trailer?
Sure, why not?
The truck's 240,000 new and the trailer's 100, so mm-hmm. there's 340,000, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we've got another 175 in it mm-hmm. at our cost. Mm-hmm. But, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot, and I think that's why we got to show them for a year and see if we can get something back out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great thing. You can recoup and look good and still have a great looking vehicle that represents the company while you're doing that.
Yeah, we're thankful to be in the place we're in and have the freight that we've got, and we work hard at it, and we try to keep our trucks looking as best as we can. Mm-hmm. They're not always all perfect all the time, but that's we got to work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Brian, thanks for taking some time here on a Wednesday afternoon to really go through this truck from front to back. And I hope the viewers enjoy being able to see this real nice up close look at what you've done.
Well, we sure appreciate you coming over and giving us the opportunity, and I hope people enjoy it as well. I know we've enjoyed building it, and we're pretty thankful and proud of our end result, and we'll see what the folks think over the next few days.
Absolutely. All right.